Three friends, one amazing series of YA novels, an insatiable thirst to relive the glory that is K.A. Applegate's literary masterpiece. This is Fanimorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Hello and welcome to the Dork-Bajir Chronicles, a podcast where we read through the Animorphs series one book at a time, then we talk about it every week. Today we'll be talking about Animorphs number 24, The Suspicion. My name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden, the wet slurping noises that Mikhail always cuts out.
There's so many of them, and they're so unnecessary. Because I know for a fact your mouth is always bone dry.
Yeah. He actually squirts, like he's got a water bottle, where like a hamster ball, where like the only way he can make those noises is by like licking. Well, no, he licks the little ball at the end of the hamster thing, and it makes those noises. Anyways, before we jump in to this fucking ridiculous book, I have two pieces of fan mail I want to get to because we just finished the Andalite Chronicles. So the first piece of fan mail comes to us from @CodeMonkey85 on Twitter, and he's responding to what we talked about with Arbron and how Arbron is like sarcastic, and Elfangor actually is also kind of sarcastic. And he says, to me, Arbron sounds like Marco. Elfangor points out how he has a style of humor that is strange, but it can't be that strange, right? If one Andalite has it, they all have the potential. But Axe treats Marco's humor as a human construct, ... Which is a good point because, like, I don't know. We had a long discussion about it. I recommend looking at the, oh God, what was that tweet? Oh, that was for our part 1 of the Andalite Chronicles, but there was a good discussion on there because I think that is actually a pretty big miss from the authors.
Yeah, because they set up out like Axe as not understanding humor, and that's his whole thing in book 8. I mean, he also says a couple other things in book 8 that they end up retconning or never talking about again, like the Dork-Bajir war, like have the biological urge to just war every couple of years. But here's a thought that turns it all on its head. These books are like journals that the kids are writing, correct? That's what we can kind of extrapolate from. So what if Axe is trying to be the best alien he can be on Earth? So he's playing up not understanding Earth culture, so that the humans who come across his book are like, whoa, aliens don't understand humor.
I mean, that's not a terrible theory.
It's it's not very strong, but like, there's one, maybe.
Okay. Anyways, I'm sure we could talk about that for ages, but I just want to get to the next piece of fan mail. This one coming from Spot3D, who's helped us out before on Twitter. They mentioned that the Andalite Chronicles was the first book to make them cry, which pretty true. I think this actually was one of my very earliest, like, tearing up at the end of a book. Even in the middle of this book was fucking tragic, man.
Yeah, if we look at it in terms of publication release, this is kind of like it was the biggest book aside from the first Megamorphs, but it had so much more emotional impact than any of the other ones because it was a Chronicles, and like it was Elfangor's story, like, oh my god. So yeah, no, it's a feels trip.
That's huge. It really was one of the most impactful books of my childhood, I think, in a weird way, because it really had almost nothing to do with humans at all, but very relatable. Anyways,
because every 12-year-old feels like an alien.
Well, ain't that the truth?
Anyways, since I did the last summary, it's Tessa's turn. So Tessa, you're going to summarize.
It is my turn. I gotta summarize another Cassie book, which is great because like I'm the only one on the podcast that likes Cassie as a character. So.
I kind of like this book though, even if I don't like Cassie.
It's some fun little like B-movie plots with some neat little. It's a twist on the idea that I really enjoyed.
It's It's a Honey, I Shrunk the Animorphs book, which is a joke that Marco made in this book already. He also says, whoa, no flash photography, which is like, oofda doofda.
Oh, my sweet baby boy.
Doofda.
That's so choice. That's
The book
so good.
starts out, it's pretty good. I think this is a bit from book 14, if I remember correctly, where Rachel is criticizing like Cassie's sense of style. And then, spoiler alert, at the end of the book, she also criticizes Cassie's style again. And then Cassie's like, hold up, that's what you did at the beginning of this episode. We're not going to redo this whole day. Like, that's what happened in book 14, which was the last absolutely random Cassie book. And then book 24, it's back again. So,
Lol,
Cassie
random.
they just liked that formula for Cassie, I guess.
Yeah, man. She's the most formulaic character anyways.
No, I think it's because of the whole, it's an easy dynamic to play into because Rachel likes fashion and Cassie doesn't. Anyway, Cassie and her dad are donating stuff to Goodwill because their house is too far out for them to have an effective garage sale. So they're just throwing shit at the back of the pickup. Rachel's like, yo, I'm fucking bored and it's a great day. Let's go to the beach. They go to the beach, hang out for a bit. Cassie's like, this is super boring, but, you know, it's a fun time to hang out and not have to worry about saving the world. They walk back to Cassie's house. Cassie's in a bathing suit. Rachel's in a bathing suit. Jake is hanging out there, hoping to run into Cassie. He sees her and does something that Cassie's never seen before. He, like, looks away and has a hard time looking at her, and Cassie's super self-conscious because, oh my god, he thinks I look stupid. And Rachel,
Totally.
like, wants to beat her over the head because, like, no, that is not a she looks stupid look. Cassie, that boy is having the hardest time not looking at your boobies. Like, he's so into you. It's a very cute moment. But then it ends because there's a toy spaceship that's stuck to the side of this pipe for a second time. Before they left for the beach, there was this toy spaceship stuck to the side of, like, this... it was a water pump, right? Like an old water pump sticking out of the ground that was just there for decoration. Well, it sucks, because that's where Cassie has hidden the morphing cube. So, this is not cool that this toy is stuck to the side with the morphing cube again. Oh, excuse me. Oh, and then they realize, also, this is not the same toy that was stuck on there the first time. It's totally a different toy. And it's not a toy at all, because it detaches and flies around and shoots laser beams at them. And they're like, what the fuck? So they have a quick meeting. Half the team goes out to find spaceship number 2. Rachel, Cassie, Jake go to Goodwill to find spaceship number 1. They run into, the reason that nerd, the epitome of nerd culture, who is guarding the vault to the Goodwill. Who is like, if it's not a Romulan ship you come out with, you're not stealing from Goodwill. And he just knows all of the ships, because of course.
I had a little note in my notes for this episode, but that said, because a while ago I had said that Brayden reminds me of a Skritnaw.
Yep.
In actuality, I think Brayden reminds me more of a Helmacron from this book, which we'll get into, obviously. But also kind of the guy from the Goodwill.
I want to say that Brayden reminds me of an Isquirt, but that's book 26, so...
Oh my god, spoilers.
Spoilers.
You're off the show.
So the guy is just like, it better be a fucking Romulan ship, because I literally know everything about, like, all space stuff. And the kids are like, cool, anyway, let's go find it. They have a fight with it. Rachel hits it with a baseball bat. It yells at them through thought speak, so that's weird. And then it flies away. So the kids morph bird, and I'm saying here that the ornithologists in this city that they live in must always be salivating, because, oh my god, how many sightings of a bald eagle in your little non-specified, American town? They're all over the place. You're always seeing bald eagles and peregrine falcons and ospreys, because these kids don't morph seagulls often enough.
But those animals are pretty common in the States.
Yeah, but not in cities.
Yeah, man. Hawks live in the city.
Yeah. It's great territory for them.
Hawks live in the city sounds like a furry reboot of Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Hawks live in the city. Bum, bum,
Dun,
bum,
dun,
bum.
dun.
So they
Running
morph bird.
wild and looking pretty.
They fly after this ship. There's a big old aerial dogfight with these little ship. And it's crazy because the ship shoots laser beams that are, like, annoying when you're a human, but they're deadly when you're a bird. But the ship decides to bail and just starts heading towards the barn, so they fly after it, they fly into the barn and have another fight in the barn, and how the fuck was there room in this barn for 6 huge birds and 2 spaceships to have a battle?
I think the idea is that they're A, the barn is big, and B, the ships are really small because they describe it as like...
Tessa, excuse me, but actually, Tessa, I think the idea is that the barn is big. I mean,
right, laugh it up, Chuckles.
Airtight theory there, Michaela. I can't argue.
I love how all these chapters have been preceded with these like these super salty like ship's logs from the little ships.
Yeah.
What was it? Galaxy Crusher, and what was the other one?
The Planet
Destroyer, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Galaxy Blaster.
No, it was Galaxy Crusher.
Yeah.
No, Galaxy Blaster, Planet Crusher.
Yeah.
Planet Crusher. Oh, I knew there was Crusher in there. During this fight, the pipe is cut open and the box is absconded. The kids are like, okay, it's been really hard to fight as a bird. I'm tiring out. Cassie's like, I'm going to demorph human. And then there's this big flash and she's shrinking, but not because she's morphing. Marco walks into the bar. Flash, hey, no flash photography. And Cassie is like, Marco, tell everybody else to get out. And Marco's like, yo, everybody get out. Rachel, you can come in here, because I guess he wants her to be small also. He does make a joke later about having to populate the world with new race of tiny people. So... maybe that was his whole reason. But then Tobias is also shrunk.
You'd get it.
So, and then Tobias and Thoughtspeak is like, everyone stay out. So these guys, 3 of them, are shrunk to a 1/16 of an inch size, which I don't know what it is in centimeters, but it's very small. It's very small.
A 1/16 of an inch is probably like 2-3 millimeters? No.
Yeah. So it's got to be something like that. Like it's extreme. It's like the size of your eyelash.
Dr. Google to the rescue.
Is 1.5 millimeters.
1.6.
1.6 millimeters. So these guys are teeny, teeny, tiny. The 2 ships have run away at this point, and they have this long conversation where Axe says "thus" a lot and does some math, and they're like, "Huh, I'm like really small, but also I'm strong and can still breathe. This is weird," which doesn't make sense because if the molecules stay the same size, there's no way that you can actually breathe them. But whatever.
Oh, we gonna talk about the science part later.
The bad guys come back. Where was it? Cassie's dad comes in. First, before the bad guys come back, Cassie's dad comes in and chases away the big kids because they're like, oh, no, we're just waiting for Cassie. She's not here? No. They're like, okay, you kids should go home to your parents, and Axe quickly morphs human and is like, hello, I am Phil. I am from Canada. I am Canadese. Ugh.
What a loser.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's how you say it. Canadese. That's how I would say it.
It makes me happy to see that there are, representation of people from other countries in this book.
You guys make me sick.
Not my country. I'm, from an unspecified country, of course. The bad guys come back. The unshrunk gang morph cockroaches and wolf spider to try and save them, but the bad guys' guns are really good and are hurting the bugs, and so Marco and Cassie say, hey, we surrender, and they get captured. Tobias stays with the group of unshrunk heroes so that they can try and get back later. And now we meet that these aliens are called the Helmacrons. They look really fucked up, like their heads are pyramid shaped, their eyeballs are like little grapes on the top of their head.
They look like nothing like the picture on the inside cover.
Oh, absolutely nothing. Of course, that description wasn't sent to the cover artist. The cover artist was just doing the best they could with MS Paint and clip art.
Yeah.
Basically. Their leader is dead because that's how we'll know that she won't make a mistake. Excellent leadership. All of the soldiers are females and all of the slaves are males, so they call Cassie and Marco male because they're the new slaves. So that's a weird thing. We're gonna talk about that. Cassie and Marco grovel in the style that they would normally grovel. So Cassie grovels like a really, really, really good groveler, and Marco lies down like he's at the beach. Marco's the best. And the Helmacrons are like, take us to your leader, take us to the power source, this blue box. They don't call it the blue box, but that's what they're talking about. Yeah. And Cassie's like, oh no, we've only got the one leader, the leader of the Yeerks. He's got the blue box. So she sicks him on Visser 3.
That was pretty clever. That
which was pretty clever.
Pretty good.
That was like the only reason why this could be a Cassie book and not a Marco book.
Yeah.
Was because she had kind of a clever thing to say, because I don't think Marco would have done that.
I don't know if Marco would have thought of it, because that's their different talents. Is Cassie kind of knows, she can kind of think about people's relationships in a sense. Like, she got a read on the Helmacrons. She knew that the Yeerks would fight them because they were annoying, but she also knew that the Helmacrons wouldn't give up, and she figured that would be a good distraction, that they could get the F out of there.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas Marco, looks more about, like, situation and not character.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Anyway, there's a really funny moment when the ship comes alongside Visser 3's limo, and he, like, scrolls down the window to look at him, and they see his mouth move, and he's like, Helmacrons? Which is like, okay, Visser 3, you just know all the aliens, I guess.
I know. Why does he know? I guess because he's Alaran?
Maybe because he's maybe Helmacrons are a new introduction. Maybe they're like a new introduction to the scene. They've been like sort of it's how sometimes in like the Star Wars expanded universe, there's like a species that comes from outside the rim, of the known universe. Because like obviously there's like, if we're gonna run into life in our own galaxy, there's no reason that life couldn't have happened outside of it and is going to approach us someday.
I think the outer rim in Star Wars, Braden, is actually the outer rim of their own galaxy. That's my understanding of the outer rim.
We're not a Star Wars podcast. I think what happened was the Yeerks...
You get what I mean,
breaking
though.
Down Anakin's character arc... No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Anakin was the only good bit about the movie.
Ooh, controversial.
Ooh, controversial, but it's not a Star Wars podcast, which means no one can tweet at me about it.
Yet.
Animorphs only. I feel like the Yeerks would be the ones, not the Andalites, but the Yeerks, because they're like spreading everywhere and trying to infect everybody. They would have run into the Helmacrons and realized that, oh, they're too small, we can't actually infiltrate them.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We know that about the shark one, where they like the brain wasn't big enough or whatever.
Yeah, so they had to do surgery and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're doing like this fight. The ship is shooting at the limo. A guy pokes out the top of the limo and is shooting at them, which nobody in this city is like worried about. I guess Baby Driver is just happening on their streets, and they're just like, oh, it's Tuesday. A bunch of eagles in the sky and a laser gun outside of a limo.
Baby Driver would have been so good, like, if Baby Driver just happened to be Visser 3's driver that day.
Oh my god, okay.
And the soundtrack was to, like, Draken beams and stuff.
Okay, but, like, the characters of the Animorphs, who would they be as the characters from Baby Driver? No, that's another topic.
Axe would be Baby Driver.
Axe would be Baby. Oh, he's just like his brother driving in a Mustang. So Cassie and Marco morph flies to get very, very small to try and escape. They see cells, which, what the fuck? They find out they're actually at a meeting of the Sharing, and so they escape. They land on Chapman's head. The other Helmacron ship has lured the rest of the Animorphs there to steal the blue box, and the Helmacrons attack during the meeting, and they're just shrinking everybody left, right, and center. And Visser 3 sees the blue box being carried around and is like, get it! And, everybody's grabbing for the blue box. It's mayhem. Cassie morphs a whale again to smash something, because that's, like, her go-to now. She, like I said, Deus Ex Machina, so I say it all the time. Cassie morphed a whale and crushed the Valik. So now she gonna keep doing that.
I mean, she literally did it one other time.
No, this is her third time, dude.
What was the second time?
I know it happened again.
No, that was a dream you had.
No, it wasn't. It happened, and then Marco, like, cried at Tobias and Rachel's wedding, and then Jake proposed to
that's fucking
Cassie.
personal.
Okay, anyway,
Oh, dear.
Visser 3 has gotten shrunk, and he is on Axe with a bunch of Helmacrons, and also the shrunk Animorphs. Jake has also been shrunk. Axe is the only Animorph that's not shrunk. Cassie gets another idea, tells Axe to morph a bird to fly to the gardens and drop them off at an unspecified location that she says in secret, because it's a secret reveal. And then things get weird. So some of them are on Axe's, like, leg, some of them are on Axe's hand. When Axe morphs the bird, the leg and the hand become a wing, and so a bunch of people are fighting all at once now. While he's flying over to the gardens, Visser 3 is like, hello, Andalites. Let's, like, kill Helmacrons together because I hate them. And then Visser 3 is doing his surprising reveal and was like, no, you know what? I'd rather kill you. But at that point, Axe is over the place where he's supposed to, so everybody goes to the end of a feather and jumps. They land on anteaters and morph the anteaters, and they're no longer shrunk because the anteaters are new DNA. So it's unshrunk DNA, because that's how science works.
Yup.
And Cassie slurps up a bunch of Helmacrons and chews them, but then Visser 3 says, haha, guess what? All Helmacrons are, what is they, fungible? Fungible?
Fungible.
They don't die. So
It's actually fungible. Actually, I think it's fungibly.
I think
Chinese.
it's fungable. Fungably.
I think it's fungible. As in fungible assets.
I think it's
fumble. I think the G is silent, actually. I think it might be Russian, so it's fumble.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced. I think it's pronounced Mussolini, and all the letters are silent.
Yeah.
Mussolini, just like the mushrooms.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, Mussolini mushrooms. Anyway,
That's
Cassie
not a real thing.
eats a bunch of them, but then Visser 3 is like, ha ha ha. Helmacrons can never die. Their consciousness just jumps into another person, which makes the whole killing of the leader thing irrelevant, I guess. But then Visser 3, however, Andalites are totally killable. And he snaps up little baby Hawk Tobias on his great big anteater tongue because he's got a vor thing. But luckily, Axe is there, and he's got his tail blade against Visser 3, so there's a standoff. Everybody gets the Helmacrons to unshrink all the Yeerks, send the Yeerks away, and then unshrink all the Animorphs. And before they're unshrunk, Cassie and Marco have a pep talk with the subservient males, and the end of the book ends with the males and the females arguing, and they're like, no, we're the greatest! No, we're the greatest! Ugh!
Finally, a book with a moral that, really frees men up from the, oppression of women.
I know. God, overthrow the shackles of matriarchy, Mikhail.
Yeah, what is the point that they were trying to make with the little binary gender thing?
I don't think there was a point. I think it was just a gag.
I think they just wanted to make a joke about a whole race of Rachels. I think Marcus wanted to make that joke, and so they're like, all right, let's do it. These are books for kids. They don't have to have points.
I guess, but then when the part where it was they were first describing the male and female relationship, and Marco's like, huh, just like our society, and then later Cassie says huh, just like our society. You know what I mean? They're clearly drawing parallels between this and our society. Yeah. I just can't figure out what or why the parallels exist.
I don't know what commentary they were doing. First off, why would aliens need to have gender in the first place?
Well, especially ones that are fungal or whatever the hell.
Fungible, if they're, if
why do they need
aliens
new
that are
entities
Mussolini like this? Why would they have any kind of chromosome? Obviously, they reproduce some other way because they don't actually die. They're just a hive mind. Also,
and Braden, I'm sure you've thought about this, but how they fuck? They tie this guy down and just go at him, or what's the deal?
They're a hive mind. Kind of, right? Because if one of them dies, it goes into another person's body. But they all clearly have their own personal opinion also.
Because they killed those 4 guys when they disagreed with them.
When they disagree with each other, yeah, they were just killing left, right, and center. So they're not a hive mind?
Yeah, I don't think they're a hive mind. But Braden, what were you saying about theories about how they fuck?
I've seen some art of theoretical societies where women are by birth considered a higher class citizenry, and how they extract from the males.
Well, are you talking about that one episode of Futurama where they have snoo?
Yeah, that and many others more in detail, others more detailed depictions, a lot of more detailed depictions of the
a lot more detail
of the extraction.
Okay.
A lot.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, and I guess also, even if their minds are all kind of, aggregated, they still need bodies, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that there's a binary for biological reasons, I mean, obviously it makes sense, right? Because it works for humans.
The Helmacrons are really susceptible. Marco just has 4 sentences, and yeah, he's a charismatic guy, but his charisma stat is not that high that he can say 4 sentences, and then all of a sudden these guys are like, yeah, sure, we'll agree with you and do whatever you say and throw off these totally ingrained bonds. that our society has about us being slaves. Okay, so what if they're not ingrained bonds? What if they don't have gender, but these Helmacrons came across another species that did have a gender binary? Maybe they went to humans earlier in, like, human history, I don't know, but they, like, saw that, adopted it, and whoever, you know, was super warring, they just called female, and then they just decided to round up a couple other ones as male that were kind of wimpy looking and keep them as slaves. But there's literally no biological difference or anything. They don't have gender.
So are you saying like the words male and female are like sort of mistranslated through the thought speak?
Kind of, yeah. I feel like because, and maybe this is a recent idea, like in the last 10 years or like 5 years, or maybe even last week, they ran into like, I don't know, maybe a wolf pack that was led by this badass like female wolf. And they're like, haha, obviously the battle hardened ones are the females.
That's how that works, I think.
Whenever I think of hive mind, my mind always kind of rushes, especially when it comes to like interactions with technologies, because hive minds are actually true, like hives, especially as advanced to the point where it's like they never die. They just go back to some core and then can be fed into more bodies. I always think of some more advanced societies. Maybe the Helmacrons, like the Dork-Bajir, are a manufactured species. And even though...
No. We can't do that for every single fucking species. It's not fair. It's so creationist. It's like not the spirit of sci-fi at all.
How? You think that mortal creatures making other creatures with dangerous little weird quirks is creationist?
Well, yeah, because it precludes evolution. That's why it's creationist.
Mikhail, God is the hardest sci-fi.
Oh my God, that's your bumper sticker, isn't it?
He invented science fiction!
They evolved sort of in the same way that parrots and other near sentient animals have, in that interaction with humans has taught them a couple little quirks like language and tool use, and they evolved on a planet with a gender binary species, which they copied.
Okay, that makes more sense to me than just like, because I think it's not fun to have somebody be like, maybe the Taxons are hungry all the time because the Ellimist made them that way.
They were engineered. Yeah, no, it's not really creative. It's just like, all right.
Well, the problem is, it's not that it's like not possible. It's just that
it's not.
Why can't you just play in this space?
Play in this space.
Okay,
no,
fair.
I think the Helmacrons picked it up from something else. I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
What if they evolved from mushrooms?
No. Just because of that one word.
No, but because they're fungal. Like fungible. And also they look really weird. You know what else looks weird? Like fungus in the forest looks weird. You know what else has really little swords? Mushrooms in the forest. You see a mushroom in a restaurant, it's always got a little plastic sword sticking out of it. You can't explain it any other way, Mikhail.
I mean, not to you anyway.
All right, can I say, Cassie is so bad at improv. I love Marco's groveling scene. It's like one of the things that I remember when I think back on, before I reread this book for this episode, when I was thinking back about this episode, that was one of the scenes that stood out the most to me. Besides the fact that Helmacrons exist, was just like Marco lying down and just groveling as best he could. Like, just chilling out. And then also Cassie's so bad at improv. Like, oh, my name is Cindy Crawford. I grovel like someone who is really, really, really groveling.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was Marco, I'd be like pissed off. I'd be like, oh, you're ruining this whole bit for me right now.
No, I feel like Marco was into it because it proves that he's even better at being funny.
Oh, I don't think he needs to like be convinced of that. Maybe we should talk about also the science stuff in this book.
I love that idea.
They do talk about it a lot.
What, the science?
The science. Like, they have acts saying all kinds of stuff about, like, thus, and these numbers and numbers. But, like, it also does not make sense at all.
Well, certain things make sense, like to scale stuff. So, like, in theory, if you could be shrunk down to a perfect 1-to-1, or, like, you know, whatever the ratio is, that, like, gravity would not affect you in the same way. Neither would like your weight would feel like less. You could lift more.
Yeah.
You would be able to be like buried in dirt and not suffocate. But then like the initial premise is the real problem, which is like, how do you take something that is billions of cells and shrink it down without ruining the molecular structure of it?
Yeah, like maybe they're just now amoebas. Like, how do they breathe? Like, how do their bodies process this kind of molecular thing?
It depends on which part of the whole book you're willing to just accept as magic, and then your theory can proceed from there, right? Like,
I mean, any kind of shrinking thing is fucked up, right? Because, like,
right.
So you're shrunk down, and then you breathe in the oxygen cells that are now bigger than they were before, and your lungs can't process that, and you die.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I think Michael Crichton had a book where he shrunk them, and I think what he did was he gave all the people who shrunk down, like, they also had oxygen masks and stuff that they could live off of.
Oh.
You'd also need like an atmospheric suit, because the pressure that your body is under is actually a critical part of our evolution. So like, that's why if you go into space, your blood boils out of your skin because there's no pressure all of a sudden, right?
There's also like a lot of bugs have exoskeletons because it's easier to have that when you're very small than a bunch of little bones.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on how the exoskeleton helps.
I mean,
with
like, you know about your blood boiling out of your skin. I know about bug skeletons, okay? We're all our own experts.
What about worms and grubs who don't have exoskeletons? They survive.
Yeah, because their whole exoskeleton is like testes skin.
Oh, I've been proven wrong by Dr. Tessa yet again.
Spoiled you, Mikhail. You spin your little logic traps and I dance right through them. You can't fool me.
I want to hear what Brayden has to say, though, because he's been suspiciously quiet.
Oh, man. He's just writing fanfic.
I love the concept. I love this idea of the entire book and of the science and of it's underutilized. Like, they could have, I don't know, it should have, and the fact that there's another force in the universe that uses morphing energy. What the fuck is morphing energy? Where does that play in? I thought this was like a Z-space thing where like the biomatter was physically put into another universe. Now it's an energy that you need? Like a gasoline?
I think it's like the batteries that are in the cube they were leeching off of.
But it's like, okay, so there's batteries in it?
Well, you know what I mean? Like maybe wherever the cube gets its energy to power the Z-space sucking of mass, that's the energy they were sucking up. But it's like Duracell batteries, which aren't for sale in the Animorphs universe. So that's why they have to go to the cube, because it's the only one that has the Duracell batteries. Does that make sense?
No, it does not.
Imagine if the cube ran out of energy, though. Then it would just be a useless blue rock.
I guess maybe that raises another question of like, is the Escafil device a power source on its own? Like it produces some sort of energy that is beyond just electricity? Because they're like, we use the transformation power. I said that weird, transformation.
Weird.
But that implies that it's a new type of energy beyond like joules. You know what I mean? Like it's...
Okay, you said jewels, and I thought of like rubies and sapphires at first. Sorry, yes. I saw part of the second Hobbit movie earlier today where they covered Smaug in a bunch of gold. So I got jewels on the brain.
And then they charge their cell phones with rubies.
Treasure.
Subscribe
to our Patreon. Give me treasure.
Yeah. I think ultimately the question I said earlier is the one that we need to focus on is like, which part do we not question so that we can move forward with our theories, right?
I think the answer just has to be most of it, you know?
Yeah, because I want to talk about the science of being small. And if we are stuck on the fact that you can't be small, we can never talk about the science of being small.
Tell me about the science about being small, Mikhail.
Well, like... This is a good point, and I think I've said this before, but on Mythbusters this one time, I used to watch a lot of Mythbusters. They were trying to test a theory of like whether or not this whirlpool in the ocean somewhere could suck a ship down into it. And what they did was they got the swimming pool and they recreated the exact amount of RPMs of like to scale of that whirlpool in the ocean, and nothing happened. The ship just kind of like sat there and barely moved with the current. And it brought up an issue that I don't think they ever really talked about explicit or like were foiled by before, which is that sometimes you can't do things to scale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it just doesn't work. Once you get to a certain point, something else affects the objects in a way that the larger objects aren't affected.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
Yeah,
what it
that's
is? Quantum physics.
right. I don't think it is quantum physics.
I think it's quantum foam. Pack it in, boys. It's quantum physics.
Fucking quantum foam?
You know, quantum foam. When you get really close down in the quantum physics space between the molecules, they call it quantum foam. Learned that from a Michael Crichton book as well. I've read a lot of Michael Crichton in the last couple weeks.
Are you sure that's not fictional?
Pretty sure my doctorate is in quantum foam, Brayden. So,
Fuck you. I sat through all the same courses as you. You have no doctorate.
Braden. I emailed her a PhD diploma, quantum foam. Just go with it.
it came to me in the mail, Brayden. Just because yours got lost means that you're not a doctor and I am, because I have my doctorate hanging up on my wall behind me. PhD in quantum foam from the University of Phoenix.
I think I actually typoed it and it says PHB.
It's Phoenix, Feenix, like the mythical bird.
Yeah. Anyways, the point, it's Phoenix with
Wait,
an
do they
F.
spell Phoenix and Phoenix differently? I didn't know that.
No, they don't.
they
I don't
spell
know what
them
she's talking
differently.
about. No, they don't.
Okay, but another science thing. They're on Axe's leg at like parallel to the floor, but they're stuck to the leg that's perpendicular to the floor where gravity is.
Of course. That's just how it goes.
That's not how gravity works. Axe is
Well-
not a planet. He does not have gravitational pull that makes you stuck to his flesh.
Yeah, but he thick.
Oh, you got me there.
What if they were like on top of one particular muscle and there was enough of a plane where the muscle curved inwards that's
They
like
did
a
not
plateau?
talk about that. They just talked about wandering through his fur and finding fleas.
We try not to sexualize Axe.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I try to sexualize Axe.
But yeah, anyways, I like there's a lot of stuff where I got kind of confused and I wasn't sure if I was confused by the pseudoscience or confused by the like narration. Like the part where they fall, I think they're like they wake up and their ship, the Helmacron ship, was like blown up, but then they're like floating in the air, but perhaps millions of miles above a highway or something.
Yeah, a lot of scale and like sometimes they like it switches pretty fast and loose, like when they're shrunk. I think I don't know. I found that a bit confusing.
I think it could be because like it took them a third of the book until the plot actually kicked off. That they were like, you know what, we gotta brush over a lot of stuff so that we finish this in an adequate amount of pages.
I think that part of the confusion might also be with like, hey, we want kids to feel like this is sciencey, but I'm sure they're not going to care like about the details. So they're just like, whatever, like explosions, flame, falling, being small is weird.
If you have too much information in a book, especially a kid's book, then it feels like school or like dry text and they glaze over it.
Yeah, totally.
Not hashtag not all kids.
Apparently, I'm not much better.
Did you guys have so I think it's pretty safe to say that we all read a lot as kids.
Yeah, that's safe to say.
Do you guys have like a distinct memory of skipping passages in books that you thought were boring?
Oh, hell, I do that still.
Really? Because now I feel the opposite, where I'm just like, I just want to take it all in and like.
I used to read the last pages of things.
Oh, you're a monster.
He's a monster.
The very last page of something.
That's fucked.
I only did that for the last Harry Potter book because I wanted it to end like how I thought up the ending.
I did that too.
So
wait, what's your ending? What did you think? How did you think it was going to end?
So welcome to our show within a show, our Harry Potter podcast. My ending was they both kill each other at the same time.
Wait, Fanimorph presents HP Lovecraft. Harry Potter Lovecraft.
Loving the craft of writing Harry Potter.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. What was your thing?
The last paragraph or the last couple sentences would be like, Voldemort screamed, Harry whispered Avada Kedavra, and they both do it at the same time. Book end.
What would be the point of that?
There'd be no denouement whatsoever. It's just like...
yeah, and it would have been better than the denouement that was written.
Oh, wait, you didn't like the denouement where they go to heaven and Voldemort is a fucking cancer baby?
That's the climax. The actual denouement is all of them are grown up and married with kids, and Harry calls his son Albus Severus.
Which is, like, real original.
It's terrible. He's named after, like, two of the worst people in the whole series.
The ones who saved the fucking world. God damn it.
You can save the world and still be a bad person.
That's the point of Harry... Like, 80% of Harry Potter is finding out that, like, don't meet your heroes.
Well, then... And also, don't name your kids after people who've abused you for years.
I guess it's a matter of perspective, too. Like, what if you thought, like, Stalin saved the world?
Well, exactly. Some people try to be, like, play devil's advocate for, like, oh, well, you know, I mean, Hitler was a bad guy, but, like... They sure did do a bunch of science experiments on Jewish people, and now we know more that we didn't know. And it's that doesn't make...
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't make it okay. It just doesn't make it untrue, either.
It is actually untrue. That's literally neo-Nazi propaganda.
Well, yeah.
What?
I'm saying, I'm calling you a neo-Naziist, Brayden, because you support the ending to Harry Potter.
But no, yeah, that is literally neo-Nazi propaganda that the Nazis actually learned much at all.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Okay, here's a better example. Doctors figured out a lot of stuff about human anatomy by slicing open real live people.
Usually they slice open real dead people, Mikhail.
No, a lot of it was live people.
Oh wait, are we still on the Nazi thing? Because yeah, the Nazis cut open live people.
Dr. Nazi.
I've read that. I've seen that HBO special.
I see. The AIDS virus. We must. Okay, now I'm not going anywhere with this.
No.
Go ahead.
They should make more AIDS. AIDS? I love it.
I will give myself AIDS and discover the cure. Science? All right, goddammit, Brayden, shut up already.
Visser 3 morph something really fucked up. Visser 3 morph minute now, by the way.
Visser 3 morph minute.
Visser 3 morph minute.
Visser.
Visser 3 morph minute. 3. Okay, so Visser 3, it's kind of described, but really he just shoots cones was all I got, question mark?
Yeah, I saw a thing that said, like, it was like a big Dork-Bajir, but not really, which is like, oh, that's not helpful.
That's not helpful.
We were getting all the descriptions through ThoughtSpeak as like Jake was fighting them off camera.
It's true, yeah. And then we got a little bit when Cassie saw him in person.
But not much.
But
more,
not much,
really.
not enough.
Not enough. But, you know, I like he still.
The real segment for this one is the OTP alert.
OTP alert!
Which happened largely in the beginning of the book, honestly.
Oh,
that was so cute. Ugh! Giving me life.
Yeah. The part, especially where they were like, go to the beach. There was some weird, like, teen angst body image stuff at the beginning, even, that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, because Cassie doesn't feel pretty. And Rachel is pretty.
But Jake won't like... I don't know. Is it weird? Okay, it is weird. I'm going to say it anyways, but it's totally weird.
Yeah.
That Jake wouldn't compare Cassie to Rachel anyways.
Well, no, because she's his cousin, yeah.
Right. So, because a lot of times I think that sort of fear, like body image fear, comes out of a sense of comparison. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to be around attractive people, and I don't think I'm attractive.
I think Cassie just puts herself at odds, like, compared to everyone, like just girls in general, not necessarily, like, to the boys at the beach, yeah, it's compared to Rachel, but to, by and large, it's to the world around her.
Do you guys think it's weird that Rachel's always trying to get Cassie to fuck her cousin?
I think she thinks that, again, they're not fucking because they're kids and they have their own ideas about sexuality.
Brayden, hit me with your motto.
Oh, yeah, teens fuck.
Yeah, not 13-year-olds. Most of them haven't even had their first kiss yet.
Dog, I'm telling you right now, I run camps, summer camps, and when you get close to kids, they open up in ways that are disturbing.
Guess what? I've also run summer camps. Okay, oh wait, no, I ran religious summer camps.
Yeah.
Also, Brayden,
Yeah.
don't start a sentence where it's like, I know a lot about teenagers fucking cuz I work at camps and fucking kids just open up for you. It's like, ugh.
Wait, you know what I mean. They open up emotionally. They open up emotionally and they say like, listen. Like, no, none of them have ever told me a story about like them fucking, but they
it's always a friend.
It's certainly like, listen, kids already fuck. I mean, I don't, but it's a weird world. Kids already fuck. They think they're like more mature and cool for not fucking these days, which really gives me a sense of hope, you know, no shaming, but God, you're not ready for it. 12-year-olds, 12 to 15-year-olds, you're not ready for
I
it.
feel like these kids are lying to each other about who's having sex, right? Have you seen that one Mike Birbiglia stand-up where he said that he had his first kiss when he hadn't because he felt ashamed that he hadn't had his first kiss yet?
I'm telling you right now, these stories are not flattering stories. Nobody is lying about these
I've walked
stories.
into them fucking. It was terrible. Okay. No, I'm thinking that Rachel doesn't think about them boning. I'm thinking Rachel is like, aw, to, you know, my best friend and my cousin. It's like a whole family.
My Barbie doll and my Ken doll. Now they kiss.
Oy. Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird. I don't know. Anyways, I could probably talk about this fucking book for so much longer than this because
Probably.
there's a lot of shit going on. We didn't really even talk about like the gender politics a lot, but I think there's a lot to be said
I don't
there.
think the book talked about the gender politics.
Because I feel like they must not exist. Like the way that it was, yeah. I mean, for one, the lady Helmacrons were not described having titties and eyelashes, so they're probably not even women.
Oh my god, I've never heard so much shaming in one sentence.
Okay, and like in every animated thing with a lady alien, she got titties and eyelashes.
True.
The penguins in Happy Feet have titties and eyelashes. Like, this is a thing. You want to show it's a girl, give them titties and eyelashes.
It's like, it's a what do you call it? It's a trope. Yeah.
It's a trope. It's a visual trope. You're not wrong. Next week, in our bi-weekly episode of Live from the Gardens, we'll be talking about just the anteater, because really that was the only new morph. I thought about doing the humpback whale, but I was annoyed at that point in the book.
We can save that one for book 29.
Yeah, exactly. And then the following week, we'll be talking about Animorphs number 25, which is called
The Extreme.
The Extreme. It's Polar Bear. Marco.
Extreme.
Oh, Brayden, what's this book about?
Ah, yes. Okay, The Extreme. So many yerks, so little time. Marco is looking older?
He looks a bit like the polar bear when he's fully human in this one. It might be because he's facing the camera and has that weird expression. I don't know. But
So many years, so little time. The Extreme. Gosh, I think this one, we might be getting into some heavier themes for Marco's stories. I've kind of, sort of his thing has been getting less and less funny and more sort of like heavy shit stuff. We might just get into one where he we go on a seek and destroy mission and Marco gets like what we might call too into it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I love that. I love that idea.
nice.
It's true, though. Also, we've also said in the past, the best Marco books are the ones where he's not the narrator.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So wait, so you're saying that this book is going to suck?
Well, it's just that like, it's not going to be laughs nonstop.
We're going to be sort of undercutting all of his like witty humor and shit with these moments where he's like, but actually, as I told that joke, I was thinking about how one day I'm going to have to slit my own mom's throat.
Yeah, exactly.
But that makes it such a good book because it's dark.
But the Predator was like the ultimate like fucking hell. I'm so sick of him like burying his emotions.
Yeah.
Just make me laugh, funny boy. That's all I need from you.
Oh God, Mikhail. That's why you're the David of the group. Both of you.
Whoa.
Tessa.
Yeah.
Where can we find, or where can other people find more of our stuff?
All over at collectivelegacy.org. We've also got Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook.
Braden, where can people subscribe to our show?
You can find us on iTunes, Sound or Spotify, and wherever fine podcasts are distributed, including and especially on our home site, collectivelegacy.org.
You better believe
Smash the subscribe button.
it. Smash!
Smash it! Smash it like Mikhail smashes Tessa's mom!
Oh my god.
I mean, she's single, so you wouldn't be breaking up my parents' marriage.
What's up, Carol? Is her name Carol? That was a guess.
Not.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Guess again.
So here's a fun thing that we've never talked about before, except I have talked about it, but you guys haven't. We have a Patreon page over at patreon.com/Dork-Bajir, no hyphen, no space, so DORKBAJIR. There's a ton of extra shit. What kind of shit can you find there?
You can find access to our Discord server. We've got monthly essays that are written by each of us. Mikhail just wrote one. Can I spoil it a little bit? It's about the Andalite Chronicles. It's pretty cool. Talks about the myth of the hero and all that kind of stuff. You got our blooper reels are uploaded there. Our show notes from our episodes.
So at the first tier, you get... I mean, every tier has access to the Discord, which honestly is kind of where things are popping off.
We share pictures of our pets a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. We just listened to some Prozac songs not too long ago. But you can also, at the first tier, you get access to all the bloopers and show notes. Then at the next tier, you'll get a shout out on the show, and you'll also get access to the essays. And then the next two tiers are actually guest spots. So I would check those out also if you're interested. Don't
feel guilty if you can't give us money. I get it. I'm always broke. I don't support a lot of people on Patreon. This is, our funny little Animorphs pocket. Don't feel we do it for free. Like, you can still enjoy it. Please do not feel guilty. If you want to give us money, we would love it, of course, but it's more important for us that you share the episode, that you like the episode, that you tell us that you like the episode, or you share your fan theories with us on Twitter.
Yeah. It's really important that you tell Brayden that you like the episode, because he's just been like, I don't know, man. He needs a pick-me-up.
I think he needs a pick. He has not been listening to enough Prozac songs. He's been going down the Evanescence deep dive, and we need to pull him back out.
So since I said the shout outs at the second tier, let's jump right into that.
Let's do some shout outs. We got 3 of them so far. Do we want to do one each?
The premise of this game is you need to read the name and give the name an Animorphs book title. And Tessa's going to tell us if it already is a book.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. So our first patron is Anyanka, The Gift.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's just Andalite's gift.
Nailed it. 1 point for me.
It's just Andalite gifts. You're good.
Brayden, hit us with the next one.
Our next patron in the call-out tier is Spencer, The Sneaking.
No, that's not one. That's a good one. Okay, I'm going to do an actual title from Animorphs because I know them all.
Okay.
All right. Shout out to, thank you to A Heap of Games, The Test.
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Heap was on one of our episodes.
Yeah, he was. That was actually Adam Heap, one of our guest hosts on the Snake episode, where we did Live from the Gardens for number 20.
Multiple Snake episodes now.
He was also Megamorphs 1 Live from the Gardens.
Yes.
Yeah, man, this guy's all the way.
Yeah.
Anyways, for the Fanimorphs, and for all the just free-loving souls out there, my name is Mikhail, the host.
My name is Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Brayden, the lesser of the species.
The subservient one. And this has been Fanimorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
What do you want to eat right now? Jinx! I'm Mitch.
And I'm Sophie. And this is
We Watch Food,
a podcast all about the food we like to watch.
We'll talk all about the best, the craziest, and the tastiest TV, movies, and YouTube channels.
Not to mention trendy food fads and sumptuous food trivia.
Plus, we end every episode with a recipe from one of us.
So join us every Saturday for a new episode and a new insight into what makes us watch so much food.
You can find us at collectivelegacy.org, as well as a bunch of other awesome podcasts.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at We Watch Food.
And on Twitter at We Watch Food Pod. So I've been Mitch.
I'm Sophie.
Bye-bye.
Bye!
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy.
a podcast network.